Well, Summit League play in men's basketball actually gets started this week with 3 games on Thursday. Everybody else has to wait till after Christmas, Brad, and the bracket buster games later in the year in February have something to do with this scheduling, right?
They do. The Summit League has to free up that weekend for the men's teams in February to play in that, and so as a result, you have to schedule some of these conference games earlier on, and probably a little earlier than the coaches would like to see. I think as a coach, you generally would like to have a little bit more time to iron out some of the wrinkles with your team in a non-conference games, but nonetheless, these teams are going to be teeing it up here this week.
All right, Omaha's at NDSU on Thursday. IUPUI's at Kansas City, Western Illinois at South Dakota. In the meantime, Oakland's going out and playing everybody else they can find. Everybody else is probably playing lower division teams for the most part, and we start this week's highlights at Fort Wayne. Well, Fort Wayne has a couple of tests coming up with games at Drake and at Notre Dame later this month, but not much of a test last week for the Dons at home against Judson University and NAIA School in Elgin, Illinois. This is Kevin Harden, one of the new starting guards this year for Fort Wayne. Knocks that down. He had 9, and there would be a lot of points for Fort Wayne in this one. Another new guy, Mario Hines, finds Isaiah McCray right there for 2, and Hines and McCray had 8 points apiece in limited time. Then it was time to throw down. Lob to Luis Jacobo, another JUCO transfer. He had 13. And then redshirt freshman Herbert Graham came off the bench, led Fort Wayne with 17 points. Fort Wayne leads it 40-11 at the break. Second half, Hines goes to work inside. Big man, 6'8" from Cleveland. 8 guys with at least 8 points for Fort Wayne. They win at 92-22. In Indianapolis, IUPUI, a little tune-up against Indiana East and NAIA School in Richmond, Indiana. Number 25 for the Jags is John Hart. Again, transfer from Purdue. He took 5 threes, made 3 of them. He had 15 points. Jags made 7 threes. Missed one here, though. 6'9" junior Mitchell Patton there to clean it up. Patton had 5 rebounds, and IUPUI was plus 13 on the boards in this one. Houston Clark drives for 2. The Red Wolves only shot at 31% for the ball game, though. And the Jags go back to the big man, Mitchell Patton, again for 2. He had 12. And Indiana East got 15 from this man, Marcus Isaac. Nice move here, but not nearly enough. P.J. Hubert came off the bench and made 5 threes for IUPUI. And the Jags beat the Red Wolves 87-54. In Brookings, the Jackrabbits taking on Southwest Minnesota State out of the Northern Sun, a Division II school that can play with the D1s most nights. Nate Walters double-teamed, finds Braden Carlson for 3. The Jacks were 9 of 24 in the game on threes. Chad White made 5 of those 9 for South Dakota State. Matt Zager, good game for the Mustangs. Drive for 2. He had 3 threes, and he had 13 points to lead Southwest Minnesota. Walters had 7 assists, drops it off for Tavon Prince. Jack's biggest lead, though, of the first half was only 7. They only led by 2 at halftime. Lavion West had a good game, but he does not want to guard Nate Walters all the way out there. Walters had 21 to lead the Jacks. Tony Fegan will hit a jumper here. He had 9 points, 10 rebounds in the ballgame for South Dakota State. But again, it was close until a big run in the second half. Tremel Barnes drops it off for Nick Smith. Smith had 10 points, and SMSU tied the game at 40 in the second half. But the Jacks made a run in the second, opened up a 22-point lead, 21 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists for Walters, and the Jacks get the win. All right, Newt, if you're a Division I team, what do you try to get out of these games against lower division opponents?
Well, you're trying to, first of all, evaluate your team. And for some of these coaches, they have new players in their program. They want to see them on the court. And it's in a better environment if you can play maybe a lesser opponent, not as much pressure on those guys. And also you can kind of work out some of the kinks maybe that you have in your team early on.
All right, Taylor Braun is the men's Summit League Basketball Player of the Week. The North Dakota State junior led the Bison to 3 wins. He had 12 points against Youngstown, 11 and 6 assists against Duquesne, and 19 points, 7 boards, 6 assists in a win over James Madison. And we've got women's basketball when we come back.